shouldn't take you hours every single week to plan out your marketing content. So if it is, I'm about to cut that down to either less than an hour to plan content for your week or 2 hours to plan content for your entire month. Before we dive into it, I just want you to know that there are 3 reasons why it typically takes you so long to plan out your marketing content every single week. And so one of the first main reasons is you're trying to plan content on the spot, on the day that you need it, instead of pre-planning your content for at least that week. The second thing that might be going on is you haven't established the foundation for content planning, which are just 4 things that you need to have mapped out. I'm going to make sure you have them by the end of this video. Don't worry, make sure you have a notebook because you're going to need it. Or the third thing is you haven't made your 9 content planning decisions. If it's one of these things, you will not have to worry after this video, I promise. Before we dive in though, my name is Letitia Lynch. I'm an adaptable marketing and content strategist. I've been in the marketing game since 2006. Make sure you subscribe to my channel for simple, adaptable marketing and content strategies and tips for service providers, marketing management resources and tools, and time management solutions for solo service providers. Okay, so before I walk you through those 9 decisions that you're going to make today with me, I need to make sure we talk about reasons 1 and 2 that's typically getting in the way of you doing that. So the first one is stop planning marketing content on the spot the day of. Now, I know why you're doing this. You're an expert. You've been in this game for a long time. You've worked with enough clients. You feel like you've been around long enough. So to the point where I can show up on Monday. I like to be, spontaneous. Ideas come to me. I get inspired. I get that. I get the feeling and desire for creativity, spontaneity, but that is not conducive to you being consistent with your marketing. And it's really not conducive to a busy business owner who probably has other shit going on. You might have a kid, a spouse, you have hobbies, you have friends, you have things that you want to do. And the reason that it's taking you hours every single week to do your content is because you're doing that shit on the spot. Ultimately, it's going to take you 4 times the time to plan the content on the spot daily or a few times a week when you could have pre-planned, pre-prepped, and even pre-scheduled it for the week. So let's talk about it. So many times what I hear is I don't really have time to pre-plan my content, or it stresses me out, or every time I try to do that, I never stick with it. But you know what? When you say you don't have time to pre-plan, what you really mean is you don't have a resource to help you pre-plan, and you likely don't have a designated place to look for the information that's needed in order for you to pre-plan the content. So what ends up happening is you allow things to happen on the spot, or you wait for some sort of inspiration to happen throughout your day, but it's disruptive to your day. So when you say you don't have time, but then you spend hours daily planning a reel, a blog post, an email, a carousel, designing graphics, writing the caption, popping up on stories, going live, all those things, and you actually end up spending hours every single day doing that. And that's not including the engagement time when you could have just pre-planned it in a way that works for you, because I personally hate batching too much too. Don't worry, I do not like that shit. And you could then spend maybe 20 minutes to an hour max daily engaging with content that's scheduled and posted, or pre-planned and prepared and then post it. Oh, and then instead of batching for a month, why not plan just for a week? Because while you're saying you hate batching, you're still ultimately going to spend time daily or a few times a week anyway planning out and posting content, but now it took you 4 times the time to do it. If you didn't have time before, then you really won't have time now when you do it that way. You get it? So the second thing is you have to establish your marketing content foundations first, because again, missing that gets in the way, and it makes it so hard for you to have structure around your content planning, which again ends up making it take so much time, or forces you to have to come up with stuff on the spot. And God forbid something's going on, like you're busy, you have suddenly your kids out of school, you have something that comes up, you're traveling, you're trying to enjoy a vacation. It really takes away from you being able to be present in your life because those things aren't planned. If you ever try to just dive into planning out content, but you literally draw a blank, has that ever happened to you? If it has, if you're thinking like, who should I be talking to? What should I be saying to them? What do I need to talk about? Even when you are constantly posting, even gaining followers and getting like the likes and all that stuff, but you're not seeing any results, something within your marketing content foundations is just off. You got to think about like, like, if this isn't working, but I'm showing up, something is off. And your marketing content foundations are literally what tells you after you've established your services to sell. By the way, this content here on this channel is always going to be for people who have been in business and who have services to sell. But anyway, it tells you who you're targeting to sell, who your best buyers are, what their journey is for them saying yes, and what internal dialogue they're having as they work on making that buying decision. Because without knowing those things, it's not impossible to make the content, but it's impossible to make content that actually converts into quality leads and more sales and better opportunities, obviously, to grow your brand. So those 4 things, again, if you want to take notes or you can screenshot what you see on the screen, I'm going to post them here, are your target audience. You should already know the demographics, characteristics, pain points, and environment for the type of person you want to attract. You should know the buyer personas, because then you identify like 2 to 3 profiles or type of people who should be buying from you. And where you're going to get that is I like to get it from my best clients. Like, I think about my different offers, who are my best performing clients in those offers. Those become the people that I typically would target as my buyer personas, because I know that they get the results. They're fun to work with. I enjoyed the service. And, they were the kind of people that I wouldn't mind being around or working with long-term or short-term, however your service is set up. The buyer's journey, you should be able to quickly identify different touch points and opportunities for you to engage with your customers at each stage. And then something called a client awareness map. I know I'm throwing a lot of terms out to you, but I'm explaining them right after. I promise these things are important. Even if you never remember the terminology, the thing that you're doing behind that terminology is what's most important. So that client awareness map is just you tailoring your message and your content to address your customers' evolving awareness levels and what they're thinking in the internal dialogue that's going on for them along the way as they start to make that buying decision. As you can see, even just from hearing this stuff, these foundations, having them established before you ever start planning marketing content, is already going to just make it easier and faster for you to get through the process. Simply by way of you just knowing, oh, I haven't covered this yet. They're believing this. They're stuck with this. My person ain't got time for this shit, so I have to talk about how this will save them so much time. The key is just having these things documented somewhere so that you can easily reference it. Specifically your buyer personas and that client awareness map. You'll see here that personally mine are easy to find for me because I have something called the CMO dashboard. It's a resource that I made within Notion. And you can see that I can easily go and look at my client awareness map. I can look at my buyer personas, but even for my client awareness map, it's mapped out based on my individual buyer persona. So I know exactly how my best purchase clients look and feel, and I can speak only to their situations, and it's in my content planning section. So it allows me to see that resource easily on the spot when I'm planning out marketing content. And if you want to get your own CMO dashboard, it's going to be linked in the description. So before we move on to those 9 content planning decisions, because remember, we're doing work today. I'm curious, and I need you to drop it in the comments. Do you have your marketing content foundations already established and completed just somewhere that you can easily reference as you plan your marketing content? If yes, drop a comment that says, I'm prepared. And if no, just drop a comment that says not yet. That's all I need from you. Okay, now, again, have your notebooks ready because I need you to be able to document this and jot this down because we're about to make your 9 content planning decisions for your week or for your month. So before I give them to you, just know that one of the most disruptive things that you can do to the creative side of your brain when you're planning content is leaving too many questions unanswered. Because what happens is as you start to try to plan the script, choose what to say, what to do, what type of content to post, find the sounds, make the graphics, you're already distracted and stumped because there are just so many unanswered questions. So your brain just ends up, I feel like, just feeling overwhelmed because it's already anticipating the work that you have to do. Like you got to make the graphics, you got to write captions, you got to pull promo script, clips, you got to write the promo emails that you end up getting getting overwhelmed at how long it's taking you to come up with even just the one idea that you end up just skipping, right? You skip the pre-planning, you skip batching, and you just plan one of those one-off posts. You already have a lot of work. So why, in addition to that work, are you having so many lingering questions distracting you from creating that content idea? Your solution to, up until this point, up until the day you watch this video, was to plan on the spot, right? You wait until the day of, and then you're like, I'll see what I come up with that day. But what if you can answer these 9 questions? Because that will cut out the content planning. It'll cut your content planning time down to less than an hour. Here are the 9 things. First question is, what's my theme or topic? Whether it's per month or per week, you need to know the theme or the topic that's going to guide your content planning on what you need to cover and what will anchor your content planning no matter the format of the content. That's the first question. The second question you need to have answered is, what channel? You need to know where this content needs to be happening. The third question you need to be able to answer is the frequency. How often are you going to be posting content on said channels? The fourth thing you need to know is, who is your target audience, but not the general, I'm talking to women and they're, say, entrepreneurs, they're 20. Nope. Buyer personas is who we're speaking to, not your overall generalized target audience, but the buyers, the people who are best, who you're best at working with. We're going to focus your content all around that. What's the objective of the post? What is the point? Are you trying to get sales? Are you looking for opportunities? Are you trying to get awareness? Or are you trying to generate a lead? The sixth question is, what stage of awareness is your audience in right now? Do they need to be more aware of the problem? Do they need to be more aware of the solution? Or do they need to be more aware of you in order to say yes or no? The seventh question is, what is your focus for them in the content? The content is about them. Are you addressing a belief that they have, an alternative that they tried, or the brighter future that they envision for themselves once that problem is solved? The eighth question you need to ask yourself is, now that I know what I'm talking about, how do I want to present that information? That becomes your angle. What's my angle? And their 4 angles are perspective shifting, problem solving, promotional, or profound content. If it's perspective shifting, it's just content that's going to challenge the way your audience thinks about the topic. If it's problem solving, then your content is going to provide solutions or answers to specific issues that your audience is facing. If it's profound content, then you're going to offer your original deep insights or thought-provoking ideas to engage them in a more meaningful way. Is it promotional? Like you're just highlighting your product or service and encouraging them to take action. Because number 9, the last question you're answering is, what's my call to action? Am I looking for engagement? Do I want to lead or do I want to sell? So engagement means interaction. A lead means you're collecting contact information. And is it a sale? That means that they purchased. I want you to just imagine with me knowing the answers to these things. Like, how fast would you be able to let your creative brain actually create rather than just thinking all the time if you knew the answers to this? Fast, right? So here is how we're going to wrap this up. I'm giving you homework. First of all, if you don't have the answers to the 3 most important questions, you can't even start planning your marketing content that converts. Those questions are, who are you talking to, who you're selling to, your marketing goal for the content, and what you need to talk about in your content to hit that marketing goal. If you don't have the answers to these questions right now, like immediately, and that's the thing that's stopping you from making your content, then I created a self-paced 5-day simple workshop to complete those 3 things. And it's called Marketing Momentum Blueprint. And you can grab that at marketingmomentumblueprint.com or just at the link in the description of this video. If you feel like you have those 3 things, like you know who you're talking to, you know what your marketing goal is for your content, and you know what you need to talk about in your content to hit that goal, then you probably just need help planning the content itself. If that's the case, I got you, because I am putting out something called Content Momentum Blueprint. It's coming soon. Just get on the wait list so that you'll know first when it comes out. You can get on that list at contentmomentumblueprint.com or just at the link in the description. So as we wrap up, I just want to make sure that you know that content doesn't have to take you so much time. Like, it doesn't need to take you hours to complete. You just need to have the questions to these answers already done before you start planning out that content. And I would prefer that you prepared or pre-planned that content in advance, because because it will just save you hours worth of time. And I bet you could do a lot more with your business, probably being a solo entrepreneur, if you had that time back. I'll see you in the next video.